Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day one of the Coaching Summit. We are on our final session of the day. Yay, we made it. It's been a great day. Thank you so much for everybody who's joined us. I know there's been some people who've been there from the start, so well done to you guys. That's just amazing. And thank you so much, for being here with us today. Just to let you know, all our sessions allow you to enable captions if you wish, so you can go ahead and enable that now. So we are going to crack on with our final session. We have another lovely duo that we are really excited to have hosting here. So I'm going to introduce you to Joanna, Lott and Cath Collett, and they have 3 steps to marketing mastery for coaches. So hi ladies, thanks so much for being here this afternoon, and I will hand over to you.
Hi everyone.
Hello, wonderful to be here. I will hit share screen and get started. I was just saying to Shelley, we have got 3 steps to marketing mastery for coaches. We've got so much to cover. I wish we'd have done 1 step to marketing mastery for coaches, but we will try our best to get through all 3, and you can follow up with lots of resources afterwards should we be a little bit speedy for you. So let's get started. So yes, 3 steps to marketing mastery for coaches, because there is such a huge gap between training as a coach and then learning how to market your business. So we are so excited today to help you. So I'm Jo. I help coaches get clients with honesty, not hype. There is a lot of hype out there, you'll also notice in the industry. And I share that mission with Cath, who has masses of years of experience in marketing. So we are excited to share our learnings with you today. So here is where we are going today. So we're going to talk about who you serve. You may have heard this as your niche, what you offer, so your package or your signature coaching offer, how you sell it in a way that has them saying, that's exactly what I need. So how to talk about what you do. We have some gifts for you, and then hopefully we will have time for Q&A at the end. And by the end of this workshop, you will know the 3 core steps to marketing mastery for coaches. So as Simon Sinek says, let's start with why. So why grow a coaching business? For me, as I know it's very common, I could no longer drop my daughter to school and my son to the childminder and get to London to my HR role. So I had to find some other way of earning money and a living and making a difference. So for me, that was qualifying as a coach and going on the most amazing entrepreneurship journey. So gaining that freedom to pick my kids up, unique impact on the world. Again, I think it's such an exciting thing building a business. For example, I published a book called Your Dream Job Toolkit in my first year of business, when that was something that I just didn't know was possible for a normal person. When you're in an employed role, just things like that are just out of reach. So there is so much excitement on how you can have an impact. And also to use your skills and qualifications. So, we've all probably worked hard or intending to work hard to gain our qualifications. So I think to be able to use them and continue to grow is why we are generally coaches. So that's my reasons why I have my coaching business. Over to you, Cath.
Thanks, Jo. So hi everyone, I'm Cath. I'm a marketing coach, but before training as a coach, I worked in marketing and business development for over 25 years. I held senior roles, I worked internationally, but things changed for me when I had my son, and I was suddenly trying to fit a full-time job into 3 days a week. And I know that's a very common feeling. Something had to give, unfortunately. That was me. I burnt out, I hit bottom, and it was actually through therapy that I found coaching. And I knew this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people with their mindset and their confidence, and that kind of forward thinking. So I quit my job and I trained as a coach, and I fully intended to leave marketing behind me. I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. But actually, when I was training, I discovered that there were so many amazing people with brilliant business ideas, but were really struggling to promote themselves, whether that's because they didn't know how to, or they just didn't have the confidence to put themselves out there. And so I started to combine the 2. And so my coaching business really is a way to blend my skills in marketing and coaching. I am passionate about removing some of those mindset blocks that come around marketing and self-promotion. And for me, it's about building a business that gives me the freedom and the flexibility to work whenever, however, wherever I want to on my own terms. So those are my reasons. You've heard Joe's reasons. We'd love to know your reasons. What are the 3 reasons you started or are going to be starting your own coaching business? I'm just going to pause for a minute. If you want to write them down, or if you're happy to share them with us in the chat, we'd love to know. Do any of our ideas resonate with you? Are they completely different? Are they similar? Share away. Freedom's a big one, I think. Yeah, balance, I get that. Yeah, lots of flexibility, freedom. Yeah. Yeah, passion as well. I like that role modeling for your daughters. So lots of different ones, but lots of common issue and reasons there: freedom, flexibility, being able to work on our own terms. I think that resonates with a lot of us, doesn't it? Keep them coming. I'm just going to move on to ask you a different question now. So you've given us great reasons for starting your business. I'm going to ask you how you feel about marketing, and we're actually going to do a poll here, switch things up just a little bit. Keep putting your answers in the chat as we go, though. So how do you feel about marketing? I know it can be a little bit like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, or sometimes you might be indifferent about it. But if you can just pop your thoughts there, love it, hate it, indifferent, other. We'll have a look and see how the audience is feeling today. Okay. Yeah, not sure where to start. Yeah. We might change that a little bit today.
Yes.
Exposing, yeah, I get that.
Okay, yeah. I'll end poll because I don't think others can see it. So 2 more seconds. If you haven't voted, please do. And then I will hit end poll, and then I think you get to see the results. So hopefully you see the results on your screen now. Love it, 9%, hate it, 32%, indifferent, 25%, other, pop in the chat. Yeah, I said to Cath earlier, it depends on the day. This afternoon, when I realized my podcast needs to be done by tomorrow morning, I didn't like it quite so much. So it's tricky.
It can be challenging, and but I think that how we think and how we feel and how we talk about marketing can actually have a huge impact on our approach and how we and how successful we are with it. So really, but we recognize it can be a challenge, a necessary evil, as some people have said. But we see several reasons why people struggle, in addition to the ones that you have mentioned there in the chat and the poll. It can be overwhelming and frustrating. It can be really hard to put into words the value of coaching. It's kind of intangible. All of a sudden, you're doing everything in your business, and it feels like you have to learn so much at once, as well as kind of running a business and being with clients. And marketing and selling your own services can really feel like a struggle. I mean, I actually thought marketing would be a breeze. I'd worked in marketing for so long, but it's very different promoting yourself to promoting another business. So it was a bit of a learning curve for me as well there. But it doesn't have to be this way. That's what we're going to talk about today. Wouldn't this be a great feeling, having people kind of knocking on your door saying, that is exactly what I need? And so today we're going to take you through 3 kind of core steps. We're going to look at what you offer, who to, and how you're going to communicate that value in a way that resonates with your ideal client. And this is so you can be more focused and effective with your marketing, but also get some enjoyment from it, okay? Believe me, it can be fun. So we want you to get as much out of today as possible. Please take lots of notes, engage with us, pop questions in the chat. There will be time for extra questions at the end, but if there's anything we're talking about and you do have a question, please feel free to let us know. Okay, over to you, Jo.
Fabulous. Thanks, Cath. So as well as 3 steps, we thought we'd throw in the vision as well. So I would love to invite you at this time of the day, especially if you've been on all day, to just take 4 minutes for yourself to really step into what you want in your business. Because again, we really need to tune in. It's not just a cognitive thing. We can write our niche statement 10 times over and try and get to it. So take a moment now. You can turn your cameras off if you feel more comfortable. I'll invite you to close your eyes and just take a few minutes while I walk you through a 4-minute roughly visualization. So take a moment now, close your eyes, turn your camera off if you would like to, and I will take you through. So like I said, sit back and relax. Close your eyes and start taking some deep breaths in and out. You can put your hand on your stomach to make sure that you're breathing in deeply. And breathe in for a count of 3. And with each breath in, imagine that you're filling yourself with creativity. And with each breath out, imagine that all of your fears and doubts are draining away. So keep breathing in and breathing out, filling yourself with creativity and letting go of fear and doubt. And with each breath in, you become more and more relaxed and less anxious. And as you breathe in, imagine that you meet yourself a year from now, and you are exactly where you'd hoped you'd be. You're in your amazing business. So look around and ask yourself, what's happened in the last year? Who are you with? Who do you see? What are you doing? What is this amazing business and what does it look like day to day? What kind of tasks do you see yourself doing? What kind of projects are you working on? Imagine that you walk over to your desk in this amazing future. What's on it? What do you keep in your workspace? Sit down for a second and take it all in. Do you even have a desk, or are you working from somewhere else? And as you look around your workspace, notice the windows, notice the floor, notice the ceiling. What is it that you see? What difference are you making? How much money are you making? And as you get excited about what you're witnessing, what makes you excited? And how does that make you feel in this moment? Stand up and spin in a circle and take it all in one last time. And then I want you to take a look at your future self and shake their hand and tell them you'll be seeing them soon. And as you breathe in and breathe out, what's the one thing you want to remember that you saw that surprised you or delighted you? Focus on your breathing. And think about the one thing you want to take away from this exercise. So take one more deep breath in and one more deep breath out. And then you can open your eyes. So no matter what you saw, if it was vague or clear, just keep coming back to this vision and either write down now before you forget what is your one thing you're taking away, or if you're happy to, please share in the chat. I would love to know if anything came up for you from that visualization. Freedom and safety, says Jess. If I'm reading the correct thing. Oh yeah, I think I am. Need to pin down a pricing strategy. Very clear. Sarah, more confidence, big smile on my face, confidence and joy. Chelsea, happy. Sue, regular clients on a particular day of the week. And it feels good. Love that. Group coaching sessions. Oh gosh, it's all flying now. Carmel, thank you for sharing. And busy with several clients, supporting people, purpose. Karma, happier. Alessandra, can't wait to be there in a year. Cheryl has balance and variety of clients, business to business and business to client. Love it. Thank you all so much. Do keep sharing, but I don't want to fall behind. So we'll have to come back to your comments at the end. Thank you so much. And hopefully you feel so much better now. I think it's amazing how just a few minutes out can completely change how you feel. So welcome back into this space. And let's now dive into the nitty gritty, is what you are here for. So who you serve, your niche. So we started by tuning into you. And now we need to really think, like, who are we going to help? So I would love to know, how are you with niching? So are you, yes, I know I have to niche, or I'm happy to niche, or are you an A, B, or C? So here are the 3 common reasons I hear. I don't want to narrow my audience. My services are suitable for everyone, and I like the variety of working with lots of different people. And I think the real challenge is that we know as coaches, we can do all of this stuff. We can help anyone with anything, which is why it is such a huge challenge, I think. So I would love to hear in the chat, are you've niched already, happy with it, or do you feel any of these resistances, A, B, or C, or all 3? So Alison is an A, Noella is a C. So we've got, lots of C's, B, all of the above. Niched already, lots of C's. It's the variety. Yeah, I hear you. And I think the most exciting thing I've discovered on my own journey is, even if you're helping people, like I help people build their coaching business, but really, you're helping them with their confidence, with their mindset, with all of the things. So I think you still get that variety, even if you niche down. So that's my experience anyway, but I do hear you. And you can still do things like, I'm an NHS leadership coach, which is something I never talk about because it's not within my niche, but I do still have that going on the side. So, there are ways of doing it, and remembering that your niche is for marketing purposes. It doesn't mean you can't do any other work behind closed doors as such. And here's why niching really works, because most of us have been brought up to see the specialist as the top person. So, for example, for brain surgery, would you want a generalist, or would you be very happy that you had the top brain surgeon in the country? For a loft extension, would you want a general builder, or would you want a loft extension specialist and be saying to your friends, it's so exciting, this is what they do day in, day out, we're going to be done in no time? Same for a divorce. Would you be seeking a general solicitor or a divorce specialist? So this is the world we have been brought up in, which is why the specialist always seems to take the kind of top position, and people seek someone who is an expert in that space, and I know that can then feel really difficult, again, in a coaching capacity, because we are taught that we are not the expert and the client is. But in a marketing sense, this is what really helps you to build a solid niche. So I like to think of it as 4 components, because what I've noticed is people say, it's okay, I've niched, I work with mums. So I really wanted to break it down for you today into a really, really solid foundation. So 1 is who you serve. Next is the problem that you solve. Next up is the result that you deliver. And finally, how you get them there. So that's more like your coaching offer, but just to make it super simple. So for example, it could be I help mums who are stuck in a rut get into a job that they love through my 3-step career clarity program. So that is what I would consider like a real solid foundation that you can build a good coaching business off. So I would love to know in the chat where you have the most clarity right now. So I will go back to show you, and know that you're never going to get 100% on all of these, or maybe you will after several years. But like, are you super clear on your who, your problem, your result, or how you get them there? Which one has the most clarity for you, knowing that you don't have to nail every single one? Yes, that's what we're working towards, but that's often not realistic depending on where you are in your journey. Emily knows I need to niche, but I think that's moved now. Sorry, gosh, it flies around. And Charlotte is keen on the who, or clear on the who. Andrew is clear on the who. Donna is clear on the who. Danielle isn't clear on any of them. That's fine. That's what you're here for. And the problem, the how, says Karen. Thank you so much. And yeah, the next bit is important. So the 70% rule, never wait for 100%, because it will never come. And you just need to get like, I've got a vague idea of this and I'm just going to start taking action, and know that you refine it day in, day out as you grow in your business. So do take it to market, test it, develop it, start from where you are now, and expect it to change as you change. So I started out doing executive coaching, realized I hated executive coaching because I just escaped a terrible kind of organization, and I didn't like hearing about office politics in the coaching. Clearly, I could have just worked on myself, but I decided I didn't want to do executive coaching anymore. So I did career coaching because I had just escaped that job, loved helping people with their career. But in the process, I learned I absolutely love entrepreneurship. And I didn't really want to help people get jobs. I wanted to help them start their business. That was what really lit me up. So expect your niche to change and go on a journey as you change and go on a journey. And I wanted to throw in a tiny bit of inspiration here in case you are resisting niching. So this is one of my clients, Lavana. She is a career coach. She was a general career coach when she first came to work with me. No discovery calls, no clients. She'd been marketing for ages. And this is a form that I send to my clients on a monthly basis to see how they're doing. So after she'd niched and obviously done some marketing, how many sales calls or meetings have you booked in the last month? 55. This is discovery calls from April to late June, and 5 on the wait list currently. So she niched down into buyers. She used to be, I think, a fashion buyer. So the moment she's niched down, don't get me wrong, she didn't just write it on a piece of paper. She has been very actively marketing as well. She has now got loads of work and people on the wait list, because despite the fact they could work with thousands of different career coaches, they're happy to wait for her because she understands their background, their transferable skills. So this is the power of niching. And also for other opportunities. So what other potential sales opportunities do you have? A podcast I'm going on next week. So again, it was a very specific fashion podcast. So now she's an expert in that space. She can talk on those platforms. She's been invited to do a talk in London, wants to do a webinar, but no time. Now she has an audience to fill that webinar. So this is how amazing niching can be for your business. So if you feel resistance, I'm hoping that is enough to tip you over the edge. So the core concept I would love you to remember for this section is decide who you would like to serve and think of it as radical empathy for your ideal client. This is an expansive thing, not a restrictive thing. So isn't this what we all truly want? To be seen, to be heard, to be understood. I see you, I hear you, I made this just for you. And I think if you can come at niching and your ideal client with that lens, you will fly in business. So take a moment now to share in the chat, if you have clarity on your statement, what is your I help statement? So I help coaches get clients with honesty, not hype. That is mine. So share in the chat if you have clarity. Because again, I think you can't help but join the dots. So if you say you help merchandisers change career, I immediately think, oh, my Annabelle from my daughter's school is a merchandiser. I must mention you to her. So it will really help you to market your business actively here and now. So please do share if you do have clarity on this statement. Thank you, Annette. Yes, it constantly changes the journey. Love it. So let me see. We've got, it's me. It moves so quickly, this chat. Lisa says, I help midlife professionals find more meaning and balance in their work so they can get back to the joy that they love. Love it. And Sabrina, I support ambitious women seeking change to get clear on what they want and the limiting beliefs holding them back so they get out of their way and succeed. Jill, this is a nice, super clear one. I help charity leaders navigate the challenges of funding, governance, and HR. Love it. Nice and specific. Thank you all so much, and check each other out in the chat. So now we have clarity on, or we know how to get clarity on your niche, who you serve. Let's briefly touch on what you offer. So you might think of this as your signature coaching package, offer, that type of thing. So here's how I like to explain this, which is, again, inspired by my own journey. So when I trained as a coach, like many of you, you just can't help but share how exciting this coaching thing is and come work with me. I was saying to all of my friends, I can, through these amazing questions, we'll get clear on your values and your strengths and we'll increase your confidence. And my friend literally said to me, which was the best marketing lesson you could ever have, that's really nice, but right now I'm trying to get a new job. And considering I was a career coach, I could have said, come work with me. I will help you to get a new job. She comes inside the front door going, okay, yes, that's what I want. And no doubt our first question would have been, okay, so what sort of job would you like? And then she would say, oh, the thing is, I'm completely stuck. I can't leave my work because of this, and I've got no confidence. And then we get to do all of this backdoor stuff that we know is the real problem. So, she needs to know her values, elevate her mindset, improve her confidence. But until they come in the front door, they're not really interested in any of this stuff. So what we need to do is just try and actively remember the thing that is their top of mind priority right now. So for example, when I was initially doing this niche, I had a lead magnet called 10 essential steps to grow your coaching business. So I know people need to grow their coaching business. I'm over here in the back door. I immediately changed it. Well, not immediately, after a few months, I changed it to 10 ways to get clients now, like massive increase in sign-up rate, because people don't want to know, sadly for me, how to grow their confidence, grow their business, niche down, do their offer, do their marketing. No one wants that. What they want is to know how to get clients. So I need to get people in the front door and then help them with the real problem, which is their marketing and mindset and all of that stuff. So I hope that helps in explaining how to talk about your coaching so you can actually sell it. So here is an example, my first ever coaching package of what this could look like in practice. So it was called Rise Career Academy. It looks a bit group coaching-y, but it wasn't. This was a one-to-one coaching offer. So here's my front door, get out of your rut and into a career that you love. Now I would be more specific, like as in who am I helping to get out of a rut? But this is where I was at the time. And I broke it down into these 4 phases. So my first phase was rewire. So we address your anxieties and help you build from a solid foundation. Next up, we'll identify your strengths and what you love. Finally, we'll speak to people because 85% of work comes through networking. And then lastly, we will excel in your career, whether that means the technical side in terms of LinkedIn, CV, or whether that means really preparing for your first 90 days in your new role. So that is how you can have a conversation with someone to explain what you do rather than say, come work with me, we'll do 6 sessions of coaching. That will be £1,000, please. And they go, God, that's a lot of money for a conversation. Like, why would I ever pay that? Whereas if you can really talk about what they want, and down here, talk about the back door. So here's our front door. We're leading with this, but we do need to show them that we've thought through how they're going to get there. And then that helps you say, come work with me. I'll help you get a job you love. That will be £1,000, please. And then they can think, okay, I can see if I was taken through this sort of process, I might get to where I want to get to. And they can say to their partner, whoever they're talking to, about whether they should make this investment, you know, it's £1,000 to get into a job that I love, like, rather than to have these coaching sessions and then someone say, what is this coaching thing? And make them doubt it. So I hope that helps as an explanation. And there's one more here in case there's lots of leadership coaches on the call. So this is Zoe, one of my clients. She works with research agencies to develop strong first-time leaders. She created a program. She was previously, you know, just saying, I can coach your leaders. But she created a 90-day trusted advisor program so she could talk to organizations and sell her service. So her 3 phases were engage with the team, because she wanted this to be a group coaching thing, learn new skills, and then embed them into their culture and organization. So there's obviously lots more detail under this, but hopefully that helps you to see that she can now have a conversation clearly with her ideal client to show the value of coaching. So I know we're on a whistle-stop tour, but our core concept here is to focus on the front door, because what we can end up doing is focusing on the great questions and the space and the value of coaching. But what we really get paid for is helping people go from A to B with less time and effort. That's what we get paid for. And yes, in the back door, we do all the amazing stuff we have trained for. But to be able to sell it, in my experience, we need a different approach. So I would love to know in the chat, and you may have done this already, so if you do, you can do 4 steps or whatever, but what are your 3 high-level phases that your ideal client might need to do once they're in the front door? So like I said, mine was, what was it? Rewire, identify, you know, and speak to people, for example. Please do share if you know 3 high-level steps that your ideal client might take, and just take a wild guess if not. There is some clarity already in the chat. Maybe I'm asking too much in a in a 2-moment window. Oh, good. Someone's there. Wonderful. Recognize, recharge, reboot. Well done, Louise. That's wonderful. And Jess has get comfortable with discomfort, understand where they are now, change their mindset. Sarah has offer, niche, attract, engage, nurture, sell. Exactly. Carmel, reflect, regroup, dream. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I would love to read them all day, but we have lots more to cover. So over to you, Cath.
Thanks, Jo. So we've talked through how to understand your niche and how to know your offer. And I know question has come up in the chat as well. How do you talk about what you do so it actually resonates with your ideal clients? And this really comes down to 3 things. It's what you say, where you say it, and how you say it, your messaging, your channels, and the connection that you make. I'm going to start off by talking about your messaging. And 2 key factors come into play here: self-awareness and empathy. Okay, Jo already mentioned radical empathy. And I'm going to start with self-awareness. And as coaches, this is something that we talk about a lot with our clients. You know, what's important to you? What are you great at? What experiences have you had or challenges have you faced that have got you to this point? What drives you? What's your approach? We've literally just talked about that. So we cover these things with our clients, but are you clear on them yourself? Okay. Because this is what is going to set you apart from the competitors. So just imagine you are at a networking event. You've got your 60-second speech all ready to go. And then you realize the room is full of other coaches doing exactly what you do. And they seem so much more experienced and so much more confident than you. And you just wonder how you're ever going to stand out. And so this is where you really need to lean into your strengths. And if you don't really know what they are, if you're still working on that, that's absolutely fine. But check in with yourself, ask people, go back through client testimonials. What have they said about you? Heather Hill did a great talk earlier on in the day about strengths. That would be a great one to go back and watch as well. So I know it's taken me a long time to come up with my 3. I think, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of mindset issues and imposter syndrome and confidence and everything else that comes up. So it really has taken me a while, but here are my 3. So I think my first is that it's my combined experience in marketing and coaching. The fact that I lived and breathed marketing for 25 years means I am really grounded in the fundamental principles of marketing. But the link with coaching means that I can get the best out of you and I can structure that marketing to suit your personality. The second for me is that I'm committed to simple, intentional, genuine marketing. That's what I do for myself, and that's how I work with my clients as well. And the third one for me, and if any of you are there, quiet, introverted souls, I'm with you. But I've actually won business because I am quiet and I am introverted. I have a very calm, warm, kind of systematic approach. And clients have told me they feel safe and supported. And I've been in a room where I felt extremely, imposter syndrome has hit me because I'm thinking, oh God, there's really brilliantly loud, extroverted coaches over there. But actually, I've had people make a beeline for me because I am quieter, so own it. So what about you? What are 3 things that make you stand out? If you're happy to share, pop them in the chat. If you just want to make a note of things as you're talking through, do that as well. But there might be people on here who connect with what you're saying and it resonates with them. So you never know where your next client or connection could come from. Okay. I know we're asking you to type things and it takes a while to type things. Okay. Love that. Yeah. Passionate, extrovert, committed. Yeah. And it's, we do this ourselves so much that, yeah, it's great to kind of have this exercise, do this exercise ourselves. Yeah. I love some of those. Seeing people, yeah, making that connection, connecting the dots. Honest, empathetic, a good listener. It was lovely. And these are all such superpowers. It's brilliant. Okay, keep them coming. So the second one I mentioned, and when it comes to messaging, is about empathizing with your client. Now, Joe's talked about front door problems. When it comes to messaging, we're just going to go a little bit deeper. So your client has a problem. It's something they're trying to fix, they're trying to solve, they're trying to get around something here. But it's wrapped up in a whole host of emotional challenges. They're worried about things, they're emotional. There's all the negative beliefs I talked about when you're kind of setting up a coaching business as well. And this has an effect on them. It causes them to behave in a particular way or not behave in a particular way and not do things. And they want something else instead. Pop back to that's the one. They want something else instead. So if you can really get under the surface and understand what's going on, what's keeping them awake at night and what they really want, when you're writing your content or where you're speaking at an event, they start to see themselves in your messaging and think, that's me, they're talking about me. They understand me, I really want to work with them. And this is great, everything I'm saying, but how do you do this? Yeah. Keep being curious, keep asking your clients, make a list of the common issues that you're hearing, the FAQs, the frequently asked questions you're getting from your clients. Facebook groups are brilliant for seeing what questions people are asking, how other people are responding to those questions. And I would also suggest here, get into the habit of asking your clients for structured feedback. So rather than just asking for a testimonial, ask them how they felt before, what was going on, what was the situation, how did they feel during coaching, and how did they feel after working with you. There's kind of a mine of information that you can gather. And with both the self-awareness and the empathy, I would suggest keeping notes, whether that's on your phone, if you use Trello, if you've got a notebook, keep adding to those lists, because you're going to drill down on this over time. Same as Jo was talking about with your niche, it doesn't happen overnight. And this is just a quick example I've given of a coach working with kind of executive suffering burnout. They've got an excessive workload, they're feeling stressed, this is making them withdrawn, they're making mistakes, but they don't want coaching. They want to get their life back. They want to spend more time with their family. They want to have more energy to do things that they enjoy. I haven't got time for it today, but what I'd like you to do after this session is maybe take a couple of those kind of front door problems, those key problems that you think your clients are facing, and just drill down what's going on emotionally, what's it causing them to do or not do. And then you can start to tell your story around that. Okay. So then it's about choosing your channels. So marketing is a process of communication. So any opportunity you have to talk with somebody about your business is a marketing opportunity. It's not just social media. It's about where you're going to find your audience. And even there, so social media, there's loads of different platforms. So the important thing here is to be where your clients are. So if your clients are not on TikTok, you do not have to. Okay? And really play to your strengths. If you are great at writing, then blogging or writing articles or longer form content might be for you. If you love speaking, then maybe you want to get involved in running or speaking at events or a podcast. And if you're introverted, I know this is me as well, you might want to focus on building a network through smaller kind of one-on-one meetings and referrals. Any marketing tactic can be adapted for your personality. You just need to hone in on what you enjoy and what you think your strengths are. And remember that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, okay? Choose the ones that work for you. And then finally, once you've got your messaging and you know where you're going to find your clients, it's about taking them on a journey with you. You're taking them from knowing nothing about you to loving you so much that you want them to run out and tell everybody how great you are. But that does not happen overnight. So the key things here are raising your profile, building an audience, nurturing that audience, and being consistent in how you engage with them. You're building a relationship, and that doesn't happen overnight. And different tactics kind of work for different stages of the journey. I mean, it's argued that you could do anything at any point, but this is just a way for you to drill down and think about how you're walking your clients or potential clients through that journey. So when you're first starting out, you're just getting known, you're being visible. This is where you've got your website content, you've got your blogs, you're doing your social media posts, but there's no commitment, okay? No commitment on either side. Your clients can find you, you can find them, there's no barriers. Then it's about building engagement. So your audience has got to know you, they've decided that they like you a little bit. You might want to be building up your email list, getting a lead magnet out there so you can build your email list, and then you can nurture those relationships through more targeted marketing. Maybe you're running some webinars. You might want to be doing some trials, some demos. At each stage of the journey, you're stepping that client deeper and deeper into your world. And then finally, you want to sell the thing you want to sell. And this is where you use your social proof, you use your testimonials, you're following up on leads, you're promoting offers with the end goal of obviously generating income. So the core concept I want to leave you with here is kind of marketing is a process of communication. Think of that process. That means you can break it down and the steps to follow, so it makes it easier. Be you and play to your strengths. Get to know yourself inside out and backwards. Empathize with your ideal clients. Be where your clients are and take your clients with you on a journey. And then, as I say, you don't have to do everything. Choose 2 or 3 core marketing tactics you're going to use to engage clients. Okay, lovely. So I've flown through that. Jo's flew through it. There is so much, but hopefully we've just kind of demystified it a little bit and broken it down a little bit for you. And obviously you can get in touch with us afterwards. But we've looked at who you serve, what you offer, and how you can talk about what you do. Okay. So, one thing, what's been your biggest insight from today? Either what have you learned that you didn't know? What are you going to take away from this and do after this session? Or has anything come up for you? Get your niche on. Love that one. Front door, 70%. Yeah. It is essential. Yeah. But I think with it being difficult, the more you can be yourself and the more you can lean into it and narrow down who you're dealing with, the easier it eventually will become. Yeah. It's that good. Yes, quietly your own way. Definitely for us introverts out there. Okay. So we've got a couple of goodies to share, I think, haven't we, Jo? So for myself, it's really just, I've got a 3-step guide to focus a little bit more on what we've talked about today, but how can you connect authentically rather than feeling awkward promoting your business. And I'd love you to follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram as well. Jo?
Thanks, Cath. Yes, I have the Ultimate Success Planner for Coaches 2024. So transform your qualifications into clients. So it will take you through the full process and has calendars and things. So you actually put this stuff in your diary. So do feel free to scan and download that as well. That's it. We made it. Well, we didn't. We overran. Luckily, we were the last session of the day. So yeah, we'll take that. So thank you so much for joining. I don't know, Shelley, if we have time for questions or not. I will leave that to you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to take some questions. That's no problem.
Okay.
I can see Lauren has already popped a one in the chat there. It's if you were starting a business to sell a leadership training program to develop coaching skills, how much time would you spend developing the training material before you start selling?
Next to nothing would be my answer. just get on. The selling is the hard part. People come to me and go, we've spent a year creating this leadership coaching. All we need to do is sell it. And I'm like, that's the hard part, So I would just sell the thing, get your 3 or 4 steps. Here's what we'll do, and then build it once you've actually sold it. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think getting the steps down, isn't it, first? What else have we got here?
I just got a couple of people asking if you can put the QR codes back up, please, as well, because I think they went a little bit quickly.
Yes.
Can I ask a question as well? I like what you've just suggested, have used in some of my publicity material some of the phrases I'd heard people I coach say, things like this is around menopause and midlife. I didn't feel like myself. I feel really uncertain. I feel really alone. And when I was showing it to a friend, her feedback was that it was sort of a negative focus. So I sort of, in my mind, when I've been listening to you, I've been thinking, well, that's what I was trying to do, put out there the words back that I've heard about why it's needed. But then her feedback was, and that might be specific to her and how she reads and experiences things, but felt that it was negative and therefore scary, and perhaps people wouldn't identify strongly. So I don't know if that question makes sense, and if you have any quick thoughts in a short time.
Yeah, I think if I understood it correctly, it's understanding the pain points, you're understanding what's going on, but you're also giving them the dream of where they want to be, and kind of moving them towards that kind of end goal. Does that make sense, or can you just kind of repeat that for me?
Yeah, that does make sense. It's more how much to use that language of where my understanding of where people who might benefit from my coaching are at. And it was just the feedback that I had from a friend, which might just be sort of individual, but that gives it a negative spin, a call out to people that were feeling in these difficult places. But I suppose, you know, it's offering, and I feel uncomfortable offering them this place where I'm very confident they'll go somewhere, but I don't know where they'll go, because that's also the beauty of the unknown and the uncertainty of midlife and what that might mean.
Yeah.
But is that my missing bit, the offer at the end, the pot of the end of the rainbow?
Yeah.
I mean, this is typical coaching language. You're taking them from where they are now to where they want to be. And actually, I didn't say it, it was something I wanted to touch on. As coaches, that's exactly the same with marketing. You are taking your business from where you are now to where you want to be, and you're taking your clients and your messaging from where they are now to where they want to be. So you're focusing in on where they are going to end up, and that kind of that dream, that highest desire. But in your messaging as well, you talk about, you know, you're showing that you understand the things that they're facing and the challenges that they're facing, because that's how they know that you've got them. You know, you understand them, you get them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'll go back and look again.
Yeah, I think it's both the Hell Island and the Heaven Island. Yeah, you don't want to focus on one without the other, like all the time, or it might not inspire them into action. Alice says in the chat, should you always speak to your client or the people who will pay, e.g. HR people? Yeah, this is just the biggest one. And I've had clients successfully do both, so it's really tricky. I mean, I usually say, talk to your ideal client. In other words, the paying person, the HR person, and their challenges. So that's what I would generally say. But I have had super successful people get in through the emotional to like the person and the manager, and then them get into the organization. So I would personally be going with the paying client on that one. And Danielle says, can you explain the 70% again? The 70% is, in other words, don't just sit here thinking, until I've got my niche, I can't take any action. Like, you are never going to feel, oh, I'm ready to go now, I'm ready to market my business. We just need to get 70% good enough, like I've got a vague idea what I'm doing here and who I'm working with, and then we just need to start taking action, and that will get you the clarity as you continue. Cheryl.
Hi, Joe and Cath. My question was just about how much time would you spend on market research? So I know I could spend too much time there, but I know it's important. So what would be your general guidance, rule of thumb around actually getting that market research?
Do you want me to
go? Yes, I'll you go for it. You go for it, Cath.
It's hard to allocate a particular percentage of time to this. I think if you look at marketing not being a separate task, it's all part of running your business. And so anything you're doing with clients, anytime that you're thinking about your niche or engaging, that is market research. That's part of your role. And I think even after you've had a session with a client, if you're kind of reflecting back on some of the issues that came up and how you move them around a particular kind of issue or challenge, again, that's market research. So it is part of your role. I think, and it's the same when somebody mentioned about how much time should you put into something before you launch it. You need to have an understanding, but don't spend so much time researching something, because experience and that interaction with your potential client is so valuable. And if you use it correctly, ChatGPT can actually help quite a lot with that as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
But it's also worth thinking about market research as a tool to get new clients. Like, I had a final call of a group coaching thing I've been running recently, and I almost fell off my chair when the person that was on my program said that she generated £25,000 in the last 3 months through the market research calls that I, made her do in like week 1, because they were with organizations, and she's going, oh, what are your challenges, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going, oh, is this what you can help with? So actually, sometimes if you're brave enough to do that final step, and I had lots of others who weren't, but to say, I'm working on this right now, would you be interested in hearing when I've got something ready? So it's just that final line of like being brave enough to not just be in the friend zone and trying to think how you can encourage them to take that next step.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say
great.
surveys are brilliant as well. Maybe you can offer like a one-off. And I did this earlier in my business. I offered like a free coaching session. I put people in for a draw, but I did a little survey and I asked people what they actually wanted. So that means you can get to a few people in one go.
Lovely. No, that's brilliant. Thank you both. That's great.
If we can just take one more question and then we'll close up the session. Thank you.
Yes, perfect. Gosh, which one should we go for? How to not overpromise on outcomes. I do think that's a good one if you're up for that one as well, Cath.
Yeah, and then I know Emily's got her hand up, so can we have two, please?
Sorry. Yeah, quick. Okay, so let's go with, before my chat moves around again, how to not overpromise on outcomes. There's a phrase that I really like is, well, now it's gone out of my head altogether. Now I've said there's a phrase I really like. What is the phrase? Oh yeah, that's it. I've got it. Don't worry. I've designed this program to help you to get into a job that you love, to help you to be a better manager. So you've designed the program to help them to do that. Like, that is, with all good faith, that is what you will be aiming for. You want them to get that result as much as they do. So I like that one personally, for not like over promising the outcomes. You know, you've designed it, that's your shared goal, is another way of putting it. So I hope that helps. Anything on that one, Cath?
Yeah, I think I've hit it there. Yeah. Okay. Emily, I know we're short on time, but let's go to Emily because she's had her hand up and then we'll let her go.
Hello. Oh, sorry, we've got a funny camera angle. Thank you for making time for a question. It's around with marketing and sort of pain points, and that what do they need? I've really struggled in the past and kind of almost stopped the coaching side of my business because it really didn't sit well with me. Any kind of messaging that came across as, you're not good enough, I can fix you. And that's the worst case scenario. But I was really struggling with that. I was wondering if you have any insights on that you could share.
I think it also it comes back to what we were saying earlier about focusing on that end destination and where you're taking them to. And it's almost like not leading with those pain points. And I've seen it done by lots of kind of marketing gurus as well. But it's also how you want to run your business as well. If you don't want to really focus on those, put a positive spin on it. So rather than leading with the kind of negative version of it, so I don't know, I'll help you beat your anxiety. It's the kind of more positive side of that. So I can help you feel relaxed when you go into meetings. Not that I help things, but I can help you feel more relaxed if you're have been struggling with some feelings. So it's not being negative, it's putting a positive spin on it and focusing on the end destination. Does that help? What would you say, Jo?
Yeah, it's great. I suppose it's just all about the intention, isn't it? You want to help this person, and therefore, again, how can you show them that you truly understand exactly where they're at? Like, you're not trying to make them feel worse, you are trying to make them feel better and improve their life. So just keep tuning into your intention. You're being a force for good, and just keep remembering that.
Yeah. And I would say, sorry, one was after the last word. I'd say as well that your messaging is anything you talk about with your clients. It's not just your I help statement, or it's not just what you have on your website. So having these bank of things that you talk about with people, you draw things out for different situations, you draw things out for different conversations that you're having. It happens, you'll develop this over time. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So
Sorry,
Shelley.
sorry, Shelley.
No problem. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been a fantastic session, a great way to end the day. It's an amazing day we've had anyway, but a fantastic session to end with. So thank you so much both for your time today. And thank you so much to everyone who's joined us today as well. And some of you, like I say, have been here all day. So thank you so much for sticking with us. It's been amazing. Just one final one from me and for In Good Company. Obviously, we have our Q&A sessions on Friday, the 5th of July. There's one at 9:30 with Zoe, which is about training to be a coach. And then at 12:30, we've got a Q&A with Joe about our CPD courses, emotions coaching practitioner training, and our foundations of group and team coaching. Would be lovely if you could join us. All the details for the links are in the emails that have been sent to you after you set up your registration. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll hope to see you tomorrow for our second day of the Coaching Summit 2024. Thank you so much.
And thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.